We mentioned in the first hour about the Cincinnati Bengals law. It has been some time.
Yeah, I mean, great couple of years, 12-4 last year, very successful, won the AFC North 2 out of the last 3 seasons. Couple key losses for them, Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu on the outside, Andre Smith at tackle. But we mentioned it earlier, they're the only team in NFL history to lose their first playoff game in 5 straight seasons. So some people are saying, is Marvin Lewis on the hot seat?
We could sit here and talk about what they're going to do between now and December. And the important thing is to make the playoffs. But this team is as deep as most in the NFL. I mean, what Mike Brown and his scouting and general manager department, what they have done over the last several drafts is nothing short of top of the line. They are drafting their heads off. They are getting some young, talented kids into the system, including A.J. McCarron, by the way. I mean, they're ruling the roost in April. They're winning the draft. The problem is they're not winning in January. When is that going to happen? So you can't just assume you make the playoffs in the NFL. You just can't.
Especially in that division.
You certainly can't assume you're going to win the division like they have done in recent years. You can't. Not when the Steelers are there. The Ravens are a complete omnibus. I have no idea what they're going to do this year. We'll hit them down the road on 32 teams in 32 days. We hit the Steelers earlier this week.
Do you think Andy Dalton gets unfairly criticized, Rich?
No, I don't, because he hasn't won in January. No, I don't. And when you've got folks like Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, even Phillip Rivers, and when I say even Phillip Rivers, he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. I mean, we could go on Cam Newton, Eli Manning. How many more are you going to put in that mix before you get to Andy Dalton, who has performed well in recent years? They got to win in January, and they got to win in January this year. So I can sit here and talk about what 2016 looks like in the regular season. What I think it is another double-digit win season. The question is how many? Is it 10? Is it 11? Is it 12? If it's 10, you're in the problem about maybe missing the playoffs, probably not winning the division. If it's 11, you're in the playoffs, maybe winning the division. If it's 12, you win that division. They've got a tough 3 games without their best defensive players. He called him the captain of the defense, which is interesting because Geno Atkins is at the top of many defensive best player lists. But, you know, that's tough. Jets, Steelers, Broncos, no perfect. What is that, 1-2 maybe? 1-2? 2-1? If they're lucky, I mean, just coming out of the gate, that's a rough one.
What do you think of that Jets game?
I don't want to play the Cincinnati Bengals to start the season. When you're coming out of the gate like that, that is a real tough start. That might be a sneaky good week 1 game, by the way.
If Eifert doesn't play, though, and they've lost Marvin Jones and Mohamed Sanu.
It's a tough one.
Their number 2 is LaFell. You know all about LaFell, Brockman.
Oh, boy.
Well, you know where winning in January doesn't matter, guys? Fantasy football. And that makes Andy Dalton really good at fantasy football. 3,600 yards per season in his 5-year career, 28 total touchdowns. That's really good when it comes to fantasy football. And so if you're looking to load up your roster, take your top running backs, your top wide receivers in the first few rounds, you could do a lot worse than taking Andy Dalton as your starting quarterback in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. And so I like him as my Bengals fantasy player.
But instead of A.J. Green?
But you know what you're getting in A.J. Green. He's going to be.
You're looking for a steal.
He's going to be one of the first couple of wide receivers taken. If you're looking for a steal, great value, who's going to still put up a lot of points and a lot of numbers, Andy Dalton's
Let's
your guy.
briefly get into this. I'm taking Antonio Brown, right?
Yep.
You taking Julio Jones first before A.J. Green?
Yep.
In a draft, right?
Probably.
Odell Beckham. Do you take Odell Beckham in front of A.J. Green?
He's not a big. He's a big yardage guy, but not a big receptions guy.
He might have Victor Cruz back this year too, which could make a
things
difference.
Up.
AJ Green's right there, man.
What's the Sunday ticket game? Is it the Jets week 1? Sunday.
I don't know.
Sunday.
I'm kind of looking at week 3, home opener against the Broncos. It's a huge game. The defending champs are coming in. And what does this team look like 3 weeks into the season? You mentioned it. Are they 0-2? Are they 1-1? They got road games against the Jets and Steelers.
I think they beat the Jets and they lose to
the
Pittsburgh,
Steelers.
and then they have home for Denver, which is a huge game.
Huge game.
They're home for Miami, which starts 3 of the first 4 on the road. Then they're at Dallas, at New England. That's the first 6 games, 4 of the first 6 on the road
schedule
for the Bengals. If they get through that 3-3,
that's a huge win for them.
I think it is. And then they can make some hay at home.
And if somehow they're 4-2, then they are in the driver's seat in the AFC North, and they're on track to a home playoff game.
Certainly if they beat New England in New England. Because
100%.
that last year was at one point a conversation about who gets home field throughout the entire thing until, of course, Denver held serve. So, again, you go to NFLSundayTicket.tv to find out if you are eligible to stream every NFL Sunday Ticket game this season to follow your favorite team no matter where you live. If you live in an apartment or you're an enrolled college student, you got to go to NFLSundayTicket.tv right here and right now.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.